Shalom. Call halal Yahweh Bashem Abishai Bahashem Rakakadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS. Salutations to my fellow laborers, the Akim, the confusion of face, Akim that are joined unto our ranks, the hopefully elect, the Akwaf that are listening and learning. To you I say Shalom. Can I open with the scripture? This is Ecclesiastes 12 and verse 3. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. So basically what that's talking about is the fact that there are not a lot of opportunities left here in America. The majority of the people, because they're saying half, you got to remember, Esau always lies about numbers. All right? Example, they put labels of white on people who are clearly melanated people. All right? Just to boost up their numbers to say that they're the majority. Truth of the matter is, the so-called white man is not only the minority around the world, but he's a minority right here in America. All right? They've been lying about that, and they constantly lie about the Negroes. About how many of you there really are. All right, they constantly lie about everything. It's like I've said, they're saying that the so-called Negroes here in America have been 13% of the population, which is a bold-faced lie. It's way more of them than that. All right, then you add in the so-called Latinos. Yeah, the so-called white man is clearly the minority. Okay. And that's creating economic problems, as a result of that, with the lack of babies being born, especially for them particularly. All right, because there's not going to be enough working adults to feed back into this broken system that they've made. All right, there's not going to be enough money going into the system to substantiate all the people on the latter end of that system, the retirees and that sort of thing. All right. And it says, and the grinders cease because they are few. All the jobs have gone overseas and left. Just like all these millionaires and billionaires, the high-level ones have left the big cities, especially Chicago. I felt a direct connection to that because I dealt with a lot of those people as clients. All right? Those people left, man, and I'm, went belly up damn near. All right, because when those millionaires and billionaires left, man, they took a lot of jobs with them. Lots of them. Okay? And then it says, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. And then, because they see no future, man. Hence the reason why you have all these drug problems. What they call them, the death by despair. The 3 Ds. You got drugs, suicides, and alcoholism. Which is affecting the Edomite population, the so-called white man, more than any other group. And I'm gonna keep bringing that point up because this is how they're lying. It's impossible for them to be the majority. They're losing 150 a day to opioids, about 120 to meth, and over 100 to suicides. Then you also have the farmers that are offing themselves. All right, just based upon those facts, there's no way on this planet that they could be, the majority. Okay, and that farming suicide among them is a worldwide phenomenon with them. It's not just here in America. All right, people see no hope. The windows are darkened, man. They don't see no future. All right, verse 4. And the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of a bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. And we're experiencing that. Music is the most garbage. Oh my man! All right, when you can, some of these rappers are looked at as being talented. It's yeah, and you get up early in the morning and you go to hunt for jobs, and there are no jobs, man. You go to the place where you used to be able to just walk down State Street and other places in Chicago. Just going in different stores and different places and fill out applications, and that was jobs. But a lot of those places, man, all you see is advertisement on the windows and closed doors. Okay? So let's let some of this video play.
When you tell an employed person who has savings and investments and their life seems put together that everything is going to change, they might disagree with you. As pension funds in the US evaporate and savings hit the floor, only then will people start asking questions. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. Today we are going to look at the status of not just the US, but basically all over the world. People are broke. They push it to the absolute maximum. I'm going to show you the statistics that go along with that today. Everything is becoming more affordable, as well as people are becoming very irresponsible. And this happens to be cycles that collide against each other. And of course, we know the results. Now, I want to begin by taking a look at this out of CBS. Almost half of Americans can't pay for their basic needs. Okay, we are talking about extreme levels here, and that is quite unfortunate. There is a group in the United States and most of the Western world that is doing well, doing very well, in fact. However, a large percentage of people are not. So that's what we're talking about today. 4 in 10 Americans are struggling to pay for their basic needs such as groceries or housing, a problem even middle-class households confront. Okay, that's according to the Urban Institute. They did this study here, and of course, it's just a survey. It's just a select amount of individuals. It's not going to give us the whole picture of the US, but it is a pretty good way to look at things. You can't necessarily survey every single person. It's not going to happen. But we get a sneak peek, essentially. Despite the U.S. economy being near full employment, that's a joke,
Yes,
39% of adults between 18 and 64 said that they experienced at least one type of material hardship in 2017. That is quite a significant number there when you think about it, and it's people from, everywhere from 18 to 64. So that's something I just wanted to bring to you and make you think of what's really going on today. Is everything as good as they say it is? Do we really have full employment? Or are we simply being fed lies? All right. The findings surprised the researchers, who had expected to find high levels of hardship among the poor Americans, but hadn't predicted so many middle-class families would also struggle to meet their basic needs. Okay? That may illustrate that the middle-class income is no guarantee of protection from hardship, and I completely agree with that part of it. Of course, we need to understand what people are doing with their money and how they are going to repair all the damage that's in place. And with everything coming down the way it is, we need to be very worried for a lot of individuals. Adults reporting material hardship in 2017. This is the chart right here. Any hardship, 39.4%. Multiple hardship, nearly 24%. Food insecurity, believe it or not, is over 23%. Okay, that's significant. Medical bills, 18%, and so on. Okay, so this is different levels here, and I just wanted to show you that because I think it's important to really look deeper into what they're exactly experiencing. This is going, as it said, for people, so-called middle-class individuals, and I would say it's even for individuals, let's say, in the upper middle class.
So there it is, man. The upper middle class is becoming broke. And I keep saying it. You're going to have the well-to-do and the working poor. And when the middle class is becoming, they're taking the place of the poverty people. All right? Because most people are just, it used to be 6 months away from financial ruin. Now it's more like a paycheck or two. All right? A lot of people, one paycheck, one calamity will put them on the streets, man. They lose everything they have. Okay? And why is it happening? Because this place wasn't governed according to the Bible. And it's just time. The end is Esau's time is up. This is the end of his age. This is Jeremiah 22:13, and it reads, "Woe unto him that buildeth his house by unrighteousness, and his chambers by wrong, that useth his neighbor's service without wages, and giveth him not for his work." And that's how America was built, man. On the backs of other people. On the backs of other people's stolen land. All right? And now the tables are starting to turn. The Lord is bringing this place down. Let's go to another video which used some of the same information from this survey that they did. I think it was 75,000 people.
Hey, I just created a Wix website for my
Gotta
business.
suffer
Let me
through
show
that,
you how I do
Salakia.
it.
Let me
Let's go
click
to
it off.
Wix.com.
Zimbabwe cash crisis worse. Venezuela once again still making important thanks. They removed the 1,000 Georgia payment called monetary. Hey there, hope all is well. Back at you today with some RT News updates. And as you told today's title, I'm going to be sharing with you some statistics that just recently came out in reference to the fact that half of Americans in 2017 experienced some form of hardship, whether they couldn't cover their medical costs, cost of living, food, or something of that nature, as well as the fact that half of 18-year-old under children in America live in households that receive some form of aid. And these are all statistics from prior years, not to mention what it might be right now. But before I dive into today's articles, as always, RTD, want to encourage you to click the subscribe button along with the notification tab to be informed of future updates as well as live streams. Also join me on Twitter where I share posts throughout the day on various subject matters dealing with our monetary system as well as whatever's happening in the news that I can't get to via video. Make sure you click the button down below to be notified when things are posted. So as I mentioned, I have two articles I want to share with you dealing with some recent statistics on what's happening in the real street, not necessarily this artificial information we hear from mainstream sources that would have you believe that everything is all fine and well.
Right, and that would be Fox, CNN, NBC, ABC. You know, the typical BBC, the typical American and news agencies, man. The ones that are mainly owned by Rupert Murdoch and his constituents. It's all fabricated lies, man. All right, to make the good look bad and the bad look good. All right, and just fabricate lies, man. All right.
For the average person. And so one of the things I want to do with RT News is make sure I highlight some of the fine print and what's happening with Wall Street, the Main Street, and what's happening on Real Street. What I mean by Real Street is the fact that most people are not experiencing this economic expansion as the mainstream media will have you to believe. And so the articles today gives you some real numbers, give you some hard numbers on what's happening in the streets amongst those that are considered middle class, and those are the ones that are being impacted the most, as well as monetary policy, as well as fiscal policy, continue to squeeze out the real street economy for those that actually get up every day and go to work for there. So as always, I want you to take the time to read some of these articles for yourself to get a better idea of what's going on. But more importantly, just want to skim the surface, give you something to think about. And the very first article here, as it says, almost half of Americans can't pay for their basic needs. So this article came out today, and it's very interesting in how almost half of the population of this country experienced some type of hardship last year in 2017 in the midst of this economic expansion that we're having, where stock markets are at an all-time high, and the overall confidence coming from mainstream news will have you to believe everybody's doing well, but yet those who watch channels such as this know that that's not the case. So I want to give you some numbers here to shine a little light on what's really happening. And it says 4 in 10 Americans are struggling to pay for their basic needs, such as groceries or housing, a problem even middle-class households confront, according to a new study from the Urban Institute. It says despite the U.S. economy being near full employment, 39.4% of adults between 18 and 64 old said they experienced at least one type of material hardship in 2017. So currently we're supposed to be at all-time high of employment. So in actuality, it doesn't count approximately 100 million Americans that are not employed or out of the workforce. It says here, according to the study, which surveyed more than 7,500 adults about whether they had trouble paying for housing, utilities, food, or healthcare, said the findings surprised researchers at the Urban Institute, who had expected to find high levels of hardship among poor Americans, but hadn't predicted so many middle class would struggle with their basic needs. Says that many illustrate that a middle class income is no guarantee of protection from the hardship, says Michael Cartman, research associate at the Urban Institute's Health Policy Center. So the idea that there's no guarantee, no matter what class you are, unless you are one of the 1%ers of those that are close to the water spigot, i.e. this QE that's been unleashed over the last decade, you're probably not receiving much aid overall. Going on a little bit more, it says the Urban Institute designed the study last year to get a baseline measure of hardship in anticipation of proposed cutbacks in federal safety net program, such as proposals to add work requirements to food stamps as well as Medicaid. It says adults reporting hardship in 2017 broken down to any hardship was 39.4, multiple hardships 23.7, food insecurity 23.3, problems paying medical bills 18%. Did not get medical care because of costs, 17.8%. And that's quite alarming, the fact that most people say, hey, I can't afford it, so I'm just going to suffer through the pain or whatever it might be. It says missed rent or mortgage payment, 10.2%. Evicted or forced to move, 11%, and so on.
Hey, that is America now. That's what people are facing. When you can't afford to put a roof over your head, and you can't afford to put food on your table, man, people's behavior begins to get really erratic. So you think it's bad now, it's going to get worse and worse. You're going to see crime go through the roof, man. All right. Last and final scripture. This is James, the 5th chapter, and I'm going to start at I'm going to read verse 1 down to maybe verse 4. All right. And it reads, "Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten." And the riches are corrupted because that's why the nations of the world, include many of American allies, are dropping the dollar. And the average American knows nothing about this because they're too busy keeping up with NBA and Major League Baseball statistics and love and hip hop and the what is it, the American Idol and garbage like that, man. Okay, they have no clue what's going on in the society around them, you know. Going to looking forward to the next Lollapalooza next summer here in Chicago, so you can come out and walk around with your breast out, with some tight ass pants, with your cheeks out, and your clam, your camel toe, all on parade. You know, that's what people are worried about in America here in Chicago. All right. And it says, verse 3, "Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you. And ye shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped treasure together for the last days." All right. And nobody wants to deal with the American currency, man. All right. It's cankered. No one wants to deal with it. All right. That's why you got all these nations that are dumping their debt, their American-owned debt. So eventually, can't put a date on it. I wish I could, but the nations are gearing up for war. You know, you got the Iranians and the Israelis are already going at it in Syria. So how much longer before they start going at each other on another battlefield? All right, this thing is happening, man. All right, we are truly living in the last days of the last days. All right, so you know, you people who know you Israelites and not doing what you're supposed to do, you need to repent, man. Well, death will be coming for you soon. You're going to die the death of the heathen. So with that, all praises, glory, and honor be unto Yahweh Shem Shai. Wa Abba Babal.